Good evening. I would like to finish up tonight my 1969 Rocky Mountain Cougar. Why on earth is this called a Rocky Mountain Cougar? Well, it's very simple. The Rocky Mountain Life Insurance Company of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, ordered 98 1969 Cougars for their top performing sales force. They got to drive this wonderful company car. Yeah, I kind of wish I had worked for them then, sort of. The car was sold out of, I want to say it was Universal Sales and Leasing in Calgary. They were all totally identical. They had this special custom paint, but I think it was a Ditzler product that they had painted on here. And each one of them had the white vinyl top. It had the deluxe leather interior with bucket seats and the console. This particular model, I was fortunate enough to find one that I had that had the deluxe interior, which pretty neat. They all had door edge guards. They had bumper guards. They had a 351 4-barrel Cleveland in them with an FMX transmission. They also had wire wheel covers, and that was kind of fun to try and find a way to simulate that on this particular model. Each one of them also had an immersion block heater because, well, you're in Canada and you want to start this thing in the wintertime. You know, you don't want to call your client and say, hey, I can't come sell you life insurance today because my car won't start. So, you know, that just kind of made sense to have something like that. They all had power steering, power brakes. I think that was the only, I don't think they had air conditioning in these particular units. But regardless, here's why I wouldn't necessarily want to work for that company, because you could drive it around in 69, it'd be great. But by 1970, the Rocky Mountain Life Insurance Company had, well, they'd gone belly up. And the sales leasing company took possession of the cars again and sold them to the general public. Now, of the original 98, there are still some out and about. There are many that, of course, who knows where they are. Could be in a barn, could be scrapped, but there are still some out there in their original condition, and there's many that have been, well, there's a few that have been restored. So it's one of those cars that's very unique, and I would absolutely love to have personally, but because of the cost and the rarity, well, I think this is the only way I'm ever going to own it. So let's get it finished up this evening and get it in the collection. And what I'm going to do is use some of my Larry's bath water and a fairly fine brush. I'll be able to wipe off any excess. Thank you very much. I'm going to do the door panel. Oh, let's do the trunk lid. As you can see, on that trunk lid, well, it really needs some kind of an enhancement. So, the nice thing about using this pin wash is if I think I've got a little bit too much from the get-go, I can just wipe it off with my finger. I can come back and take care of it with my Q-tip later if I want. You see the difference in how that looks now? Okay, and we're going to get the grate here, the vent. Same technique. And this door here. I have too many areas I really need to do this on with this car. And I might have wiped a little bit too much, but that's okay. We come back. Just re-go over it here. Again, once this is dry, I'll be able to wipe it off very easily with a damp Q-tip. I'm going to make an aerial for my Cougar. I do this for just about all of my model cars. It's kind of one of my signature things that I do. And it's very easy. I take a piece of brass, usually. I can't tell you the size of this, but it looks right. It looks like about the right size. I've got several different sizes. And then I just measure out. I actually have a template piece here. And I measure out about what I think I'm going to need. And I cut it with my hobby knife. Okay. So I have the antenna. Now, I'm going to take a piece of styrene. This, I use evergreen, by the way, in just about everything I do. And this is an 0.10 piece. I'm going to cut it to the dimension that I think looks right. You can look up online and see what the dimension is and measure it with a ruler and all that kind of great stuff, and probably get it a whole lot more accurate. But you know, this is my guesstimate, and this is what I'm going to go with. So here we are. My little 0.10 piece of styrene, and I'm going to first I'm going to get my pin vise. Again, I can't tell you the size of the bit. I just know it's a little bit bigger than this piece of brass that I cut, and I'm going to go into my model with it. Okay, then I'm going to take my base, and I'm going to drill the base out. Okay, I got that drill. Now I'm going to use a little bit of super glue. Yay! Yeah, you know how much I love this stuff? Well, I don't. But sometimes it's a necessary evil. And right now it's being very evil. There we go. Got a little bit out. And now I'm going to take my brass piece, dip it in the super glue, and put it into both of those holes. I'm going to dip this in my super glue as well. Just a little bit. And put it right into the hole. Put it down as far as I think I need to make a decent looking mast. And voila. There you go. We have an antenna that looks fairly correct for a 69 Cougar. And usually there's just a little kind of a ball on the top, not much. And I'm just going to do that with some super glue. I'm sure there's a better way to do it. Maybe someday I'll figure that out. Well, here's our finished Cougar with pretty much everything on that I think I've wanted to put on. Down here we painted the rocker panel that belongs there. It should actually be, I want to say, an aluminum piece. And then you have the wheel moldings. I have the turn signals painted. And I put the Cougar, Mercury Cougar emblem that belongs on the vinyl top up there. I always put a license plate on my car models. Usually I custom make one myself, but I thought this one in purple from Illinois was just perfect for this car, so I put that on this one. There's our antenna. And one thing that I do as kind of my personal signature, you can always tell my builds, is I will usually put something on the front or back seat of the car. And on this particular one, we've got a Carcraft from the late 1970s, early 1980s. I can't remember which exactly this issue is, but what I did is I put it in my computer, I shrunk it down, and there you go. kind of a fun thing that I like to do. Sometimes I'll put an owner's manual. It just really depends on what mood I'm in. I didn't detail the engine compartment a lot in this one yet. Maybe I will one of these days. But for now, there is our Rocky Mountain Cougar.